Hey everyone, welcome to Plants and Politics. So this is breaking news from Business Insider. Apparently the Shell Corporation that was reported as being set up by Donald Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, also involved his son, Eric Trump, and one of Eric's top deputies named Alex Cannon. As you may recall, the other night, this news exploded across the internet about a Shell Corporation called American-Made Media Consultants and how they had paid out more than $600 million of Trump's campaign money to unknown entities and or people. Of the $617 million that was funneled through American-Made Media, no one can account for $367 million. So Business Insider was able to determine where the rest of that money went and what it was spent on, being mostly advertising. But over $350 million, which is a lot to go through in 1 year, that money is unaccounted for. And that's due to the fact that it was funneled through this seemingly bogus company. So FEC filings for the Trump campaign only show payments to that corporation, but no one knows who received the money on the other end. Nobody knows who American-Made Media then cut a check to. And so the campaign may have violated federal election laws with this corporation, because you can't just lie and say, oh, I'm paying for advertising or something else that truly is campaign related, and then go hand your family member or a friend some big ass check. Even if you can somehow justify the payment to them as legitimate, those payments must be disclosed. You can't hide payments simply because you want donors to think that you're some altruistic family of the people doing all of this out of the goodness of your hearts. That's not an excuse. People need to know if you're being paid to say what you say and do what you do. They need to know what your motivation might be. And what they appear to have done with this bogus corporation is literally against the law. But, sadly, this is par for the course with the Trump family. I mean, they did the same thing with their nonprofit and then used that money. I mean, they took in money that they said was going to go to good causes and then made personal purchases. This is who they are. This is what they do. So here's what's come out so far. Alex Cannon is an attorney, so he should have known better. And he was intimately involved in the running of American-Made Media Consultants, along with Kushner, Lara Trump, who's Eric's wife, Trump's former campaign manager, Brad Pascal, and others. And Business Insider interviewed over a dozen Trump advisors, as well as Republicans who were in some way, shape, or form involved in Trump's campaign. And they told Business Insider that even key campaign aides were concerned about what this Shell Corporation might be up to. They were afraid actually to find out. And they had no clue that Lara Trump was a board member for this entity. So they said that that's very suspicious that no one was even told that she was a board member. One of Trump's advisors told Business Insider that the Shell Corporation was specifically created to protect Trump from accusations of grifting off of his donors. So, I mean, they're just coming out and saying it. Whether this will be proven true or not, I don't know, but that's what they're saying. Now, they're saying this because, of course, the money was funneled through the fake company, and they claim that it was used to pay exorbitant consultant fees to Trump family members, including Lara Trump, as well as people like Pascal, as well as Don Jr.'s girlfriend, Kimberly Guilfoyle. And another one of Trump's advisors told Business Insider, quote, "I don't think people stole money with it, but I do think it was used to conceal payments to people who didn't want to show up on reports. It was nothing illegal, but unseemly, yes." Okay, so legal but immoral, legal but unethical. Oh, that makes it okay. So when Business Insider reached out to Cannon, he declined to comment, and Trump's communication director gave Business Insider the following statement, quote, Eric Trump had no involvement in the creation or operation of AMMC. No member of the Trump family was compensated by AMMC. The campaign reports all of its expenditures to the FEC as required by federal law. Gosh, I really hope they don't make a liar out of Murtaugh, as they have with basically everyone else that comes into their orbit. So here's what's going on now. 2 Democratic House members have formally requested that the FBI and Federal Election Commission investigate Trump's campaign, as well as American-made Media Corporation. And in a letter to the Justice Department, Wisconsin Democrat Mark Pocan stated, quote, the shell company could incur upward of $1 billion in fines because it was acting as a campaign committee without filing required disclosures. So what he's essentially saying there is that the way things normally work is people like you and I donate to a campaign, and then that account, that campaign fund, then pays bills out of that fund. Instead, they were sending it to essentially a second campaign fund. The problem is, as FEC laws currently stand, Trump's campaign wouldn't necessarily have to provide details about who that money went to if those people were considered to be subcontractors. That's not currently a law or a requirement. And apparently this is something that the FEC could fix. They could insert that language without Congress. They don't need them to pass a new law. But from what Business Insider is saying, it wouldn't carry much weight and it doesn't really have much teeth. So Congress would really need to address it and create a statute for any action to be taken if people fail to follow these rules. So unfortunately, even though it appears that Trump and his family may have used these campaign donations as a slush fund and as a family piggy bank, there may be little that can be done about it. There may be little backlash, and honestly, are his donors going to care? He said he could shoot someone in the middle of Fifth Avenue and his supporters wouldn't give a damn. So, what if he lied about where their money was going and that his family and friends were making out like bandits on their dime? The one thing that I do question and wonder if his supporters care about is if they hadn't grifted all of that money, if he could have used that money truly for his campaign and to run more ads instead of having to pull them at the end of the campaign, as he did, would he have won? Could it have helped him? Did his grifting maybe cost him the election? Because it's pretty obvious that that's the case, that that's what they were doing with this money. Why else would they have gone to the trouble of setting up a shell corporation? If these were truly legitimate campaign expenses, they would have just paid these people directly from the campaign. And as I said, towards the end of the presidential campaign, in literally the last, I think it was 2 months or so leading up to the election, because I believe it was in September, they started pulling TV ads. And they started making all kinds of cuts to spending because they had burned through nearly $1 billion. They took in $1.26 billion, largely from grassroots funding from a lot of individuals who believed in him. I mean, there were some big money donors and some corporate interests, but a lot of individual Americans donated and contributed to this campaign. They burned through $1 billion, and now we know that almost 400 million of that is just gone with no idea of where it went. Now, at that time, they pointed to Trump campaign manager Brad Pascal, and they said that he used a ton of it to fund his lavish lifestyle, which leads me to my next question. Who outed them? Who is the person who brought this story to Business Insider? My money, the obvious pick is Pascal, because they not only threw him under the bus when it was revealed that Trump's campaign was broke, but they were actually in that bus. They ran him over and then they put it in reverse and backed up over the body. They made it out like he was just grifting himself off the campaign. And they had no idea this guy was just spending wildly and out of control, and he burned through all of their cash. They threw him under the bus just like Trump did with Michael Cohen, just like they did with Melania's friend. This is also par for the course with the Trump family. They get caught stealing money, grifting, whatever the case may be, lying, cheating, and they point the finger. They all stand together and they point the finger at somebody else. So I would venture a guess that Pascal is one of those campaign officials who's now telling the tale. He probably wanted to keep it quiet. This is just my thought. He wanted to keep it quiet before. He wasn't going to throw Trump under the bus and point the finger back at them and the family and this whole bogus corporation, because he was hoping that Trump would win. And now that he sees that there's no hope, it's over, the Electoral College has voted, the fat lady has sung, it's done. It's over. Now he's like, I'm not going down. I'm not taking the blame for this. I may have spent some money. I may have taken a huge salary, but I didn't burn through all of this like Guilfoyle and Lara Trump and everybody else. That's my guess. We'll see. I'm sure there will be much more reporting. Hopefully there will be investigations. I'll keep you guys posted. As always, like, share, subscribe. Thanks for watching and listening. I'll talk with you soon. Take care. Thanks for listening to Plants and Politics. The only way we can take our country and power back is to spread the truth and build an army. So remember to like, follow, subscribe, and share on Facebook, YouTube, and wherever you listen to your podcasts. Thanks again.